Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm just quickly making this video before I forget or before I probably forget about what's happened, because I just had a lesson in Masjid al-Nabawi with my teacher Sheikh Dr. Jaarallah, and then I came home, had some butter chicken, homemade, alhamdulillah, and whilst I was in the lesson, I said I'm definitely going to make this video so that you guys can benefit something, inshallah. Because whilst the students were reading and making mistakes, not all of them are mistakes, so I'll explain very shortly. But I was thinking that many people have asked that they want to understand the tariqah or the school of Sheikh Jaarallah. So obviously I intend to make a proper like a lengthy video just talking about the different things, but I think one way we can learn is via other people's mistakes. That's the way we've all learned. So myself for example, I sat for 6 months before I even read one verse to the Sheikh, and the idea behind that, or the methodology, is that you learn with your ears. We have two ears. We should learn, we should listen and learn, and you learn from other people's mistakes. So I'll be outlining some mistakes, and as I say, they're not all mistakes. It's a school, it's a style. So it's a style. We're trying to get this style, and the style is very beautiful. It's amazing, and it's all directly connected to the meaning. So we're reading along with the meaning. So as I say, I've made lots of notes in terms of all the mistakes, and I thought I'll share this with you. And yeah, this these videos that I make as well, for those that are watching, for me it's like a personal diary as well. So I'm trying to for me, if I look back, then I know at this point I learnt this, and I was doing this, or my mindset was like this, and the rest of it. So I think it's important to have some sort of keep a diary of yourself, so at least you know where you're learning, where you're improving. Because if you just live every day and we just keep doing the same thing every day, then we're not going to know what's. I think when you look back and see how far you've come, you get a lot of motivation from that. If you always look into the future, we've always got the next goal, the next aim in life, and we always feel demotivated, like I haven't achieved anything. And then you see someone else achieving and you think, oh, but then when you look back, then you see exactly how far you've come. So anyways, that's a side point. In terms of the also before I give away these secrets, I want to speak about my teacher a little bit more, because I think there's a direct connection between my teacher, Fadilatul Sheikh Abdullah Jaarallah, and this tariqah, because he's the one that's Allahumma barik lahu. He's spreading this style, and this style is on a very high level. So I'm going to keep talking about him first. So if you really want to get the style, you'll have to keep listening, and we make this video longer as well. But anyways, he learnt the style from Sheikh Ibrahim al-Akhtar, as in one of his main teachers is Sheikh Ibrahim al-Akhtar, and Sheikh Ibrahim al-Akhtar's teacher is the author of this book, Al-Wafi fi Sharh al-Shatibiyyah, Abdul Fattah bin Abdul Ghani al-Qadi. So this book, again, we're going off on a tangent, but I'm just trying to teach you a few other things. This book is very popular now when it comes to the 7 readings, Shatibiyyah. It is a commentary on Sharh al-Shatibiyyah. It's a commentary on Shatibiyyah, which is the famous poem which teaches us the styles of the different Qurra. So that's something we're studying as well. And the author of this book was a teacher at the Islamic University as well. He's Egyptian, and he was Sheikh Ibrahim al-Akhtar's teacher. And subhanAllah, this style, this tariqah, is very specific. As I say, it's according to the meaning, and you'll understand. So it's according to the meaning. And it's not about, I don't want to say that these are mistakes. A lot of them are not mistakes. Most of them won't be mistakes. So you might even think that, are we overdoing it and the rest of it? But that's not the case. It's about connecting it to the meaning and pondering and the rest of it. Anyways, I'm going to get straight into it now. So the first one, as I say, this is all in relation to other students reading. So they were reading all over the place. And today there was a party from Libya that came. I think there was some people from Sudan. There were some people from Jeddah. Students, they all came to see my teacher. And as I say, all students are in different places. So I'm just going to be talking about random places from the Quran and explaining the mistake that's been made. So the first one is, the student says, فَاثْبُتُوا وَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهِ فَاثْبُتُوا. So you're emphasizing butu, but it's all one word. It should be فَاثْبُتُوا, not فَاثْبُتُوا. And a lot of these mistakes are about emphasizing on the wrong places. The other point to teach you about is, whenever you have la and nafiya, so the la of negation, so you're saying no. For example, وَلَا جُنَاحَ عَلَيْكُمْ. So you're saying no. You don't read it. You don't start stretching and saying وَلَا جُنَاحَ عَلَيْكُمْ وَلَا, and everything is nice. It's from the Quran, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's a negation. It's saying don't do this. So you don't read it in a nice voice and start stretching وَلَا جُنَاحَ وَلَا, like it's something beautiful. Okay, so anytime you see wala, you negate in your style as well, in your recitation, in your tune. Tune I'll come to, but in your style, don't just say, another example would be, لا إله إلا الله إنما إلهكم الله الذي لا إله إلا هو. Say la everything is nice, you have to make it clear. The nafiya, the negativity, you make it very clear. And also, you have the word walata hina manas. So that's where you can stretch. You say walata hina, you don't say walata, because it's walata is one word. But anywhere there's la and nafiya, you make sure it's clear in your style and in your recitation that you're giving a negative command. Another mistake a student made, this is probably specific for the student, but he said فَلَمَّا instead of فَلَمَّا. It sounded a bit like وَلَمَّا, and I heard that as well. So teacher corrected him, said فَلَمَّا fa, every single letter. فَلَمَّا. It's unclear. Every single letter must be read clearly. Those two students that recited before me, they were focusing a little bit too much on the tune, the voice, the melody. I'm actually, so I recited there today. What I'll do is I'll be uploading my audio recitation onto YouTube, inshallah, so you can have a listen of it. But yeah, the focus was too much on tune. So you'll hear from my audio recitation that I just completely avoided tune after these two students got told off about, focusing too much on tune instead of the actual tajweed and the style of recitation. I completely made sure that I was not focusing on tune as much as I usually probably would do. So the point was around, that's why, for example, wala junaha, that's why that mistake probably comes up, because you're trying to like impress people and you're trying to make a nice tune and the rest of it. So when you put tune ahead of style, that's not correct. So an-nagham is called an-nagham. So خلي an-nagham, يعني leave it. We're not interested in it. In التحفة السمنودية, Sheikh Ibrahim al-Samannudi rahimahullah says, وجازت الأنغام بالميزان. So the nagham, the tune, is on mizan, on your style, on your keeping everything balanced. It doesn't mean that, some people, they just start going really loud and really high, and they're talking about ayat of Jahannam, for example, and it doesn't make sense. So the primary focus should not be on tune, it should be on the meaning and the tadabbur. And many people in this day and age, they'll be on, for example, social media and all this, that, and they'll be reciting verses which is like, in a negative context, but they'll be reading in like the most beautiful voice, and everyone will be like, subhanallah, mashallah, but the verses are about Jahannam. So we have to be thinking about when we're reciting verses from the Holy Quran, we make our style in the same way. So if something's about Jahannam, وَوَقَانَا عَذَابَ السَّمُومِ, adhab, punishment. We have to recite it in the same way. We don't just start reading in a beautiful voice, عَذَابَ السَّمُومِ, like as if we want it. So yeah, these are all things that you should focus on when you're reciting the Quran. I did have a question for my teacher. I asked him, I said, how do we balance the equation, or how do we sort of condense the what you're saying right now, Sheikh, versus the hadith, for example, زَيِّنُوا الْقُرْآنَ بِأَصْوَاتِكُمْ. Aswat is masani, meaning voices. So زَيِّنُوا الْقُرْآنَ بِأَصْوَاتِكُمْ means beautify the Quran with your voices. The teacher said, yes, the voice thing is there, but again, وَجَازَتِ الْأَنْغَامُ بِالْمِيزَانِ, and the meaning and the tadabbur comes first. So we must focus on that. And then I asked him another question. I said, in the Quran competitions, يوجد في المسابقات, you find in the competitions a percentage, 5%, 10% of the marks are given for tune. So he said, yeah, tune is good, but if it's going against the meaning and it's all over the place, then صفر, we give them 0. So the point here is that focus on the meaning rather than the tune. Tune comes secondary. Another mistake was the word يردون. So the student said يردون, يردون, يردون. يردون is incorrect. يردون, يردون. You just say normally, you say يردون, يردون. That's, where you like make an emphasis for no reason. It's all one word. يردون, يردون, يردون. Another one, similar, emphasis on the wrong letter in Surah Al-Baqarah. Because a lot of these new students, as in not new students, they've come for Umrah, but from Libya and other places, they all had the chance to read Surah Al-Fatiha and a few verses from Surah Al-Baqarah. So a lot of the next mistakes now will be from these two surahs, which will be quite beneficial for most of you. So, for example, وَالَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكَ وَمَا أُنزِلَ مِن قَبْلِكَ وَبِالْآخِرَةِ هُمْ يُوقِنُونَ. So that was, just kept everything nice. But what many people recite, or the way many people recite is وَالَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكَ وَمَا أُنزِلَ مِن زِلَ. You see you're separating the word into two. You're saying وَمَا أُنزِلَ, أُنزِلَ is وَمَا أُنزِلَ. It's all one word. وَمَا أُنزِلَ, أُنزِلَ مِن قَبْلِكَ. Too much emphasis in the wrong places. Keep everything بالميزان. And وبالآخرة, this is incorrect what the student read. وبالآخرة what did he say? He said يوقنون, هم يوقنون. يوقنون. It's يوقنون. It's one word. Hum, if you want to emphasize, you emphasize on hum, they, hum. وبالآخرة هم يوقنون, 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 يوقنون. Do you see how we splitting words because we emphasize them in the wrong place. Keep that in mind. أولئك على هدى. Hudam is incorrect. Hudan. This is wrong. أولئك على هدى. It's like you're adding a wow. أولئك على هدى من ربهم. And then emphasis in the wrong place again. You tell me where the emphasis is wrong in this one. وأولئك هم المفلحون. مفلحون. هم المفلحون. One word. Keep everything the same. وأولئك هم المفلحون. وجازت الأنغام بالميزان. Again, same mistake. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رحمن الرحيم. رحمن الرحيم. It's like man الرحيم is another word. So بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Common mistake is when people say مالك يوم الدين. مالك يوم. It's as if مالك يوم الدين is something else, because they've emphasized on the meme, which is the end of the word. You read like this. مالك يوم الدين. And very important to read any letter with tashdid. Make sure you read it very clearly. The tashdid requires time. You can't just go onto it and quickly leave it as well. You don't just say Yawmiddin, Yawmiddin, you know, Yawmiddin. You stay on it for a split second. For another example, لكل امرئ. I don't just say لكل امرئ لكل كلم. لكل. I stay on it for a very split second, so make sure you do that as well. لكل امرئ منهم. Thinking of another example. Yeah, for example, ولا الضالين. The tashdid requires time. You don't just come onto it and leave it straight away. And the final few points is, again, tashdid. Don't say إياك 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 نعبد وإياك نستعين. Many people say وإياك نستعين. That's incorrect as well. Many people say اهدنا الصراط. dinos, as if it's a separate word. They're splitting the word. Whether it's a separate word as if it's a separate word or not is one thing. The main point here is it's all one word, so make it clear that it's one word. So my teacher always says, he asked the person, when you make dua, you say Allahumma hdina, Allahumma hdina. You don't say Allahumma hdina. Nobody ever says Allahumma hdina fi man hadayt. You just say Allahumma hdina, Allahumma hdina. So same, teacher said, nafsul kalimah la tatakallaf. Don't say ihdinos just because you're trying to do extra with tajweed. Keep everything bil mizan. Same with rabbil alamin. Rabbil. So another point I should have made for tashdid is you go in strong and you leave light. So you say rabbil alamin, maliki yawmiddin, iyaka. You go in strong. Iyaka. You leave empty. You leave nicely. Another point was, we have to recite the Quran with tartilan, and that is part of being respectful to the Quran. Teacher was mentioning a few a hadith or something along the lines, but I missed that a little bit. And the final one is a student came and recited وَلَا الضَّالِّينَ. That jump. There's no need for that. Just keep everything nice. I mean, I hope you found that useful. I hope you found that beneficial. Go onto YouTube and check out in Arabic, Sheikh Abdullah al-Jaarallah, because I want to speak more and more about him. And the more you follow me on this channel, the more you'll hear about him, because I think it's important and necessary that we make ta'aruf of our teachers. And if you go onto YouTube and type his name in, you'll find a lot of videos about him teaching students. I hope you found that beneficial. Nas'alullah al-qubula wal-ikhlas. I do intend to continue a few more videos in terms of what we studied in the other semesters in the Kulliyatul Quran, in the Faculty of Quran. And there's so many other things that I want to share with you, inshallah. So make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives me the time. The time is the issue here. Time is very limited. As in, really and truly, we can always make time if we made it a priority. But at this moment in time, I'm quite tied up and very busy with a lot of angles. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability, but I really hope you found that beneficial. If you have any questions, some things you might even be like, oh, that's too much, or doesn't make sense, that's fine, that's up to you. If you don't want to, follow this tariqah, is fine. But the main thing is to recite with the meaning. نسأل الله القبول والإخلاص. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.